Investors, welcome to Wednesday's very special edition of Benzinga's pre-market info, brought to you by the good people at OptionsHouse. Joe, do you know why this is such a special day?
I mean, it's a wacky Wednesday, I could tell you that much so far. Everything's upside down. One of my monitors failed. But I can tell you what is very special about today.
Okay, go ahead.
My main man to my right here, Shubs, it's his birthday today.
Hey,
Golf clap all around.
do we have another person over 30 in the office?
No, Joel. He's not over 30.
Well, I'm asking. I'm asking you if we have another one. Another
Yeah.
5 years. Happy
Phew.
25th birthday to
Quarter of a century, man. Well, I mean, yeah, Shubs does have a lot of gray hair and stuff, but
It's from editing my articles. And
that's why I have a drinking problem.
We'd sing you happy birthday, Shubs, but we'd have to pay like $800 to do that. So
Right.
on the air.
I have a drinking problem too. When I don't have a drink, I have a problem. Well, also,
I just have one drink when I start, Joel. Just one right after the other.
okay. And then to celebrate, Drew brought in breakfast burritos from Timmy Hortons. Wow.
Oh, Canada in the
That's
Benzinga
right.
house.
Yeah.
Represent.
Tim
Represent.
Hortons has the finest breakfast wrap available on the market today. I recommend the sausage over the bacon. Has more flavor in it. And, we love Tim Hortons here in Michigan. Sorry for those of you listening that don't have Tim Hortons in your home state, but it's a Canadian thing, right, Dennis?
You betcha, dudes. Does anybody out there know, and we know Joel knows, but does anybody else know who Tim Horton is?
Yeah,
Even in our chat this morning? Anybody know the story on Tim Horton?
This is a real person?
It is a real
This is
person.
a real person, Brent. This is a real person. This is a Canadian icon, Tim Horton. It's got to be some Canadians in the chat.
Early trivia tidbit. today.
Yeah.
Early trivia.
Oh, come
What's
on,
the story behind Tim Horton? Just to put it in perspective, Tim Hortons Donuts in Canada, this is basically on every corner in every city. In Toronto, you probably got like 1,000 of those things. In Windsor, I think there's like 50. And Windsor's a city of 197,000 people. So these are everywhere. They're like Dunkin' Donuts. They're literally on every corner. Sometimes you go to some corner, they're on 3 corners. That's that popular.
Is that a little...
The coffee is just addictive.
Oh, you kid? Really?
It is.
Yeah, that's
It
what they
is
say
good.
anyways. I'm not a big coffee drinker, but
So-
that's what my wife's addicted to it. Hockey player, GBB. For who? What team? What team? We got to go a little bit farther
This
than
is
that.
crazy.
Oh.
What team?
Need
Does
to
Joel know the
specify.
team?
Your answer needs to be specified, sir.
Well, was it Montreal? Eh?
Was it Montreal? You don't even say A right. You still can't figure this out. You can't put A at the end of a question.
And just-
It's affirmation.
Okay.
Joel, I can't teach you anything, Joel.
Montreal
It's just-
Canadiens.
No,
A.
it wasn't the Montreal Canadiens.
Maple Leafs.
Keep guessing. Oh, Joel! Ding, 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 ding.
I mean, how
we
many-
have a winner, folks.
how many
we
hockey-
have a winner.
How many hockey teams? I mean,
Toronto Maple Leafs, Timmy Horton. Yeah, Leafs, J-Dot was all over it. He was just a couple seconds too late. So
I mean,
J-Dot was on it, though.
what else is there? The Vancouver Canucks and your favorite team, the Edmonton Oilers.
You got this figured out.
When's
You
the
got
last
this
time
all-
they were in the playoffs?
When's the last time they weren't dead last is my question. Yeah,
All
let's
right.
move away from hockey talk because that just depresses me in the morning. I'm already a little bit depressed with this market because we were trading up on the S&P futures, up 13 points this morning, or up at 1801. When last night we got a pop off Turkey news, believe it or not. Turkey raised interest rates over there. And what was the headline, Brent? Read me that headline. And leave out the last part.
Okay, and wait, what did you say? Leave out the last part?
Yeah, leave out the what was the headline?
Okay,
what was
so
the
I'm
news
looking-
that
I'm-
broke last night?
Right. I'm looking at a Bloomberg article that says Turkey's lira strengthened the most in more than 5 years, and bond yields declined after the central bank raised interest rates and signaled a return to simpler monetary policy.
Okay, I read that similar headline last time. I'm not sure it was from Bloomberg, and then it said stocks rally. Now, what does it say after that?
Now, literally 2-word sentence says stocks fell.
So I was reading everywhere last night when the market was up S&P futures after hours. It says on Turkey news, stocks rally, and the European stocks were up too. It says on Turkey news, European stocks rally. Now everywhere I'm reading on Turkey news, stocks fall. It's like, come on. So you're still saying it's the turkey news, despite the market going up 10 points and then falling 10 points. So we've had a nice, cool 22
Yeah,
point
that's
range,
huge.
apparently off of turkey news.
Well, what do you want? I mean, that could be the day's range. I mean, should we just call it a day? I mean, do you think? I mean,
It pretty much has been, yeah. I mean,
yeah.
that's
You,
a big range for the day. So overnight high 1801.25. Call that area major resistance in 1779. I guess that's going to give you maybe some support here. We just hit that low though about 15 20 minutes ago, and we have popped back up. But it was a pretty violent sell-off here over the course of the last hour. We were trading up at 7 o'clock this morning, and then we went down, and obviously we're down almost 9 points there when we hit 1779. Now we're kind of just hanging out here. So the market's trying to figure out which way it wants to go on this turkey news.
Turkey news. Just a few parameters to keep in mind here. The settlement becomes an important number to me. 1788 in the Q. That was pretty close to the high. Well, actually, they snuck the high in at 97, so that news must have hit before you had the 515 close. So, but still 88 and a quarter. That was the close. That's a number I'm keeping an eye at. If we get above that, I think we have a chance to rally. If not, I think we should take out that 1779 number, come down, test that double bottom, 1767, 1771. Before we move into the stocks, let's look at crude. I noticed that had a nice rally, really a big rebound yesterday. I don't know if there was any oil inventories or anything like that, because I noticed a big intraday move in the thing, and usually it has some good moves, but it had a monster rally. See that monster rally during the day in the crude? I'm not sure what ignited that we were off the air. But just taking a look at the crude market, look at this $98 level, Dennis. Couple highs at the end of last week, 97.84 and 97.80. And you snuck up there on Tuesday and Wednesday. So look at that wall of resistance at 98.
It does look thick up there. I think it might struggle if we get back up there. We're now 70 cents away from that level, but that does look like pretty decent resistance there, Joel. And gold here. We're popping in gold just over the last few minutes as well. We're up $10 here now. Now, what do you think? These miners going to come to life here or not? Because I've been looking at these miners, and they've been kind of going down as the market was going down. They weren't getting. Yesterday, a couple of them put in some double bottoms.
Yep.
So I was looking at Barrick. Barrick bottomed back on, I'm losing track of my days here, but back on Monday, 1847. Yesterday's low, 1849. I'll call that a double bottom in this decimal world.
Yep.
Newmont, same story, kind of. On Monday, we had a bottom at 2416, 2408, the low yesterday. So could we call this maybe the turning point for the miners here?
I'm looking at the gold contract, and it was weak yesterday. Closed a couple bucks off its low, but could not take out that low at 1248.30. And then you got a nice rebound up to over the 1260 handle. 1280 is just a number that you got to look at. That was the high that you had a couple days ago. Do you? Well, we had JC on yesterday. He was talking about that spread, with the GLD and the GDX.
Yeah.
Did you catch that? Did you catch the full drift of that?
Was it moving up? I never even looked at the spread, actually, to be honest with you. But right now, it doesn't look like it's doing that. Well, actually, it's about, the GDX is up 0.68%. The GLD here this morning is up 0.55%. What happened yesterday with it? Did it close a bit?
No, I was just talking about the fundamentals behind it. I mean,
to understand it, do I agree with that in the synopsis? That it's basically saying, will the miners outperform the gold price? I'll tell you what I see here, and this is just my opinion on this, is the miners usually always have an exaggerated move to gold. So if gold falls, the miners will fall farther. If gold rallies, the miners will rally farther. And that's probably because they're obviously the profitability is completely based on that, and it's levered there because if it starts going down, if gold was to fall to like 1,000, those things start to not make any money at all. So the profits fall exponentially. If it starts to rise, the earnings power starts to rise a lot more as well. So usually you always see exaggerated moves. So if you think that gold is rallying, it's probably usually a better case to buy something like the GDX or the miners.
Right.
If you think gold is going to fall, it's probably a better case to short the miners. That's basically the bottom line, is that the miners usually have a bigger move than the gold itself.
Okay. All right, because I did notice when the gold went down and made that last low, under 1,200, that the miners held up pretty well. And a lot of them, I mean, because they had been beaten up, they didn't make their lows for the move. That was when did gold dip under 1,200 back at the beginning of the year. You take
Yeah.
a stock like Newmont, okay, who I know you always go to ABX,
I'll
but
go to Newmont. It would be
yeah,
nice
I
to.
see how when when the gold made the lows at the beginning of the year, it
Yeah.
still held up pretty well over the lows and the moves. So we'll
But if
see.
you look farther than that, go out to the weeklies. Look at last year. I mean, Newmont basically was a $45 stock, so it got cut in half. Gold at the beginning of the year, and I just have to go bring up the chart, was definitely didn't fall by 50% last year. It
Okay,
was down, but I'm just going out to a longer
okay,
term
so
chart
that
there too.
boy does
But
that.
if you look, gold was 1650 at the beginning of. Am I looking at that right? Yeah, 1650 at the beginning of the year, and then close to 1250. So that's only like a 30% decline. So it's kind of a lot that's already priced in already too. So now as gold prices are stabilizing, maybe they're buying a little bit of these miners back a little bit quicker. So usually that same theory holds on the upside. I mean, if gold goes up $200 this year, those miners will probably be up more from
On a
a
relative
percentage
basis.
perspective.
Okay.
Yeah.
How we doing? How we doing on earnings today?
Lots of earnings here to talk about. Some big guns reporting. Last night, AT&T reported 30 or 53 cents versus 50, so they did beat. The revenue 33.2 billion versus 33.06 billion. Brent though, guidance maybe not that great. Why? AT&T is actually trading down 80 cents here this morning on this news.
Big
It was
move.
popped up a little bit last night, but the sales growth 2 to 3%. I'm not sure why they're really citing why it's down here, because it doesn't look like that bad of news. Or AT&T reported
Wow,
Q4.
look at that. Whew. 34,
Yeah.
31, and then all the way down to 32.69. Are you kidding me? Is AT&T turned into a derivative? I mean, look at that.
What was the low?
32.69. Or
What was
excuse
the
me,
high?
32.66. 32.66 low. We just made that a little bit ago. 34.31 was the high when the news
Yeah.
came out.
They bought it on the initial headline number, because I remember seeing that. They bought it on the initial earnings beat, and the stock was trading higher right after that. But then it slowly started drifting down, and then they started selling it. I'm not sure if they said something on the conference call. I'm not seeing any guidance here, like a lowered guidance or anything, but they obviously found something they didn't like. And for the majority of the session, it has been down. And the entire pre-market has been down. So this thing is probably not going to come back here. This is one I would look like, oh, the market doesn't know what they're doing. They're pricing this pretty heavily. 472,000 shares traded this morning. Lots of stock traded last night too. So they're not liking something in the report. And AT&T is trading down 80 cents here.
So they said that the sales growth in the 2 to 3%. I think that's the one you said, Dennis. They also said adjusted EPS growth will be in the mid-single-digit range. I think that's fine. I think what could be affecting us today is the subscriber numbers. So we got Q4 new postpaid smartphone ads 1.2 million. I think that was below what analysts were looking for. So that could be. I mean, that's one of the major metrics for AT&T. So
Yeah.
could be something there.
Look
You
at
also got Credit Suisse just lowering their price target in the stock this morning to $37. So not downgrading it, but maintaining their outperform weight rating, but lowering their price target.
500,000 shares have traded so far. Let's take a look. AT&T has not been under $33 for over a year. 1 year low, 52-week low. You traded down to 32.76 back in just about the same week in January 32 in January of 2013. You just hit 32.66 in the pre-market here. Not sure about the long-term direction of this thing, but I think they're going to pick this thing up and get it back over 33 bucks.
Value investors like to flock into stuff like this. It's got a 5.46% dividend at a 33.70 price, so it's probably over 5.5% down here at 32.95. You're right, there is some good support down January 18th low from last year, so almost like you said a year ago at 32.76. And what's the overnight low?
32.66.
So you're right in that ballpark. So this whole 32.70 area, buck down, looks like, and even here, there's lots of volume going. I don't think it's going to be right back up to 33.70, but I think they'll get this thing back over 33. That's just our opinion.
Opinion.
Verizon is trading down a little bit here in sympathy, but not much really. Verizon just trading down here 7 cents this morning at 47.30. Very light volume here. It was popping last night a little bit after the report of AT&T, and then it started drifting down too. So, but Verizon got huge support just under 47 bucks. Couple lows 46.76, another low 46.94. What are
Yeah.
your thoughts there on that one?
Yeah, I mean, I do see some, straight ticks here. What do? You got to print it 47.12, but under the $47 level, had a low at 46.94 that you pointed out on the 23rd, and then also go below that. You have the low of the move, and the low of the move. This recent down move has been 47.49. Now for Verizon to get down to its early January 2013 levels, you'd have to get down under $42 here. So as of right now, Verizon holding up much better than AT&T.
Boeing was flying this morning off of their initial report, $1.88 versus $1.57, appearing to blow the numbers away. 23.8 billion versus 22.74 billion as well, so they beat by over $1 billion on the revenue too. Those numbers look great, but then at the same time they were releasing, just about 30 seconds later, they were releasing guidance, and the guidance was $7 for full year 2014. They're seeing 7 to 720. Estimates were up at 757. Sales guidance are seeing 87.5 billion to 90.5 billion. Estimates were up at 92.72 billion. So definitely lowering guidance there. I'm looking at this morning when this news broke at 7:30. Stocks getting bid up to 139. I'm like, why are they bidding this up? They're lowering guidance. Sure, it was a beat, but the guidance is usually what will tell the story. That's kind of like my own trading rule of thumb. If they beat on the bottom line, they beat on the top line, but lower guidance, stock usually goes down. The WIMP I am, I 139, I was bid there. I was like, well, I'll short 100 shares here because I think this could have a 3-4 point move in either direction. And I was thinking about shorting some more, but I was pansy on it, so I only shorted 100 shares. 139, and it literally starts going down, going down, going down. It's offered at 136, so about maybe 5 minutes later, trading down. I'm looking like I should cover this, and Joe's popping in to talk to me. I'm like, Joe, I got a Boeing trade. I don't want to work this trade right now. What Joe should have did was say, Dennis, just relax on your Boeing trade. Let it simmer a little bit. Let the thing go down. But no, Joe didn't interrupt me. He let me trade out of my position at 136, and now it's at 133.5. So I really got another 2.5 points. So
Question for you: Did you short it on the way up when it ticked to 139.55?
Yeah, that's why I was scared.
Yeah, because yeah 135.
I still
you know.
Facebook. It's the Facebook thing that's still bothering me after all this time. Remember, I was shorting Facebook when it was going straight up. Same deal. I didn't think the Facebook was going to rally off that. That was 2 earnings reports ago, I think, from the Facebook. But when it got up, it had closed at 51. I shorted on the way up to 55. Before I looked, the thing was at 59 bucks on me, and I was down literally 4 points. It came back, and I ended up losing like $1.50 on that. And then I watched the thing fall another 10 points. So I still have that in my head from before. It's always scary to short the stocks on the way up. The problem is on these reports, especially on a stock like Boeing, right after it breaks, liquidity is so low. Yeah. So you only get like one shot. So if you decide, oh no, I'll short it back on the way down. I mean, the thing's got dollar spreads and the thing. So if you're not short on the way up, it's kind of hard to get it back on the way down. And that's why I was very hesitant, only short 100 shares, which is very small position.
Yeah, you got 3 sticks out of it. Number one rule of trading. Don't let past trades, good or bad, influence futures trade.
It so does. Yeah, it's a whole psychology perspective of the markets here. I mean, there's people that make careers just teaching traders how to ignore their mind and how to ignore all these psychological things like, loss aversion is a big one for, I don't have that problem, but some traders do, where they just don't want to take a loss. But there's so many other psychological character traits here that influence traders' decisions. And I have, what I call scalper mentality, where I literally get up a little bit and I was like, I got to get out of that. So I'm still got the scalper. I was like basically a market maker for so many years, scalper for so many years, that I really struggle when I get up. And I'm better than I used to be. I don't just jump in something for 2 or 3 cents. But when I get up 1% in something, 0.5%, 1%, I'm pretty quick to take it usually. And if I would have held on to Boeing, I'd been making a lot more money now.
Wow, this thing is really getting tarred and feathered. Maybe you should try a revenge trade. Try it on the long side here. And
No.
what do
I
you?
think go to 130. I don't know if it's going to continue down here or
Let's see
not. Big
here.
support down there, though.
133.14 was your low on December 13th. So we're there right now. That's a potential support level. Just took that out, 133, 132.82. If it doesn't stop at 131.90 here, Dennis, then it will go to 130. But 131.90 was your low on December 12th. You had another low in that vicinity on the 10th at 132.18. So if you didn't cover at 133, I would cover, or 136, I would tell you to cover 132 because it's getting a little bit overdone here. So we'll see what happens.
We got EMC and VMware. They always report. VMware reported last night. EMC reported this morning. They always kind of do that. VMware
Tell them why,
reports
Dennis.
like
Tell them why. Tell them why.
I don't. Well, EMC owns shares of VMware. Still, they own. I don't know what the percentage is. Brent, do you know what the percentage is? But I'm kind of throwing Brent under the bus with that. But
Nah, I
think
don't
it's
think
like
you are.
30% of the company.
30?
EMC still owns of
Yeah.
VMware.
33% is what I see. Great guess, Dennis.
So EMC owns 33% of VMware. They spun it off there years ago when VMware. Well, let's go find out when they did. We'll bring up the VMware chart. Looks like back in like 2007, they spun off VMware, kept 33% of the company. So they kind of report earnings always together. VMware reported earnings $1.01 versus $1.48 billion versus 1.48 billion, pretty much in line. Raymond James is upgrading the stock here this morning, but VMware is trading down $1. EMC reported and missed $1.95 versus 203.
That's a big
Oh no,
move.
sorry. EMC reported 60 versus 59. The guidance is light. That's the problem with EMC. And see, there it is again. The earnings beat, the guidance lower equals stock lower. That's usually what happens. EMC doing the same thing here, just like we just saw in Boeing. The full year guidance $1.95 to 203, and the stock is down 80 cents right now.
When are these news algos gonna tweak the program a little bit so
I know.
they
To
can
include guidance.
yeah, that's just one word there, guys. We can spell it for you if you want.
They
Looking,
just need the zeros and ones. To
yeah,
be
that's
able
all
to
they
do
look.
that.
Hit 24 even right on the kisser, in the 7 o'clock hour. I've gotten a nice rebound off that $24 level up to the recent high, 24.96. So thing bouncing around pretty good here. That 25 did look like good support. You get down to this $24 area where we hit in the pre-market, and that was a part of a monster run that this stock had at the end of the year. You had a low at 24.09 on December 20th. So I think you come back to that $24 area, you'll find pretty good support. In order to get back into yesterday's range, you need to rally another 30 cents, 25.24 low with a 38 close. So I think that's going to be your initial resistance point.
There is a lot of air in that 24 handle. You had the low back, and I'm going to grab the date for you, on the 23rd of December, 24.56, like you were saying there, Joel. You get below that, and it's pretty much all air. So maybe that's the area they're going to try to defend here. What's the pre-market low?
24 right on the nose.
Oh, it got down to 24. It's already been all the way low. Oh, man, I don't know. I think 24.70 is kind of in no man's land then.
Yep.
So $24 is obviously good support down there. Just from even looking at the chart, it kind of jumps out at you. But we're 70 cents above that level right now. So we're kind of, and then resistance probably going to be up at 25. So I think I'd probably sit on my hands when it's in the middle of the 24 handle.
I was looking at this VMware. I remember I did a short article on it a couple weeks ago, and boy, this thing has a lot of pops and a lot of drops.
It's
and
choppy,
yeah, and really, really choppy. And you had it a couple times. It happened in 2013. And I think at the time that I was writing the article, this thing was running. I can't remember what the news. I think there was news on LCD or something manufacturing. I can't remember what the corny news was, but it was running, and it got back over that $100 level. And now it kind of looks like it's turned. And when this thing turns, man, it loses 13, 14 points in a hurry. So I'd be a little bit careful on this one on the long side.
What was the after hours high? Because this was trading higher right off the report.
Let me pull that up. VMW, it got up over 96. It got to 97 on the nose. 97, and now it's pulling back. Looking at the dailies here, I mean, you're only trading down to 84 cents. The range, just keep an eye on yesterday's range. We are trading near yesterday's low. So if you're looking for this thing to hold, well, 93.40. 93.40. So that's your first initial support point. After that, it's 92 and a quarter.
You want to see a stock popping, Joel? Dow Chemical, holy cow, blowing the numbers away. 65 cents versus 43 cents, 14.4 billion versus 14.13 billion. They are raising the quarterly dividend up to 37 cents. It was back at 32. They are expanding their buyback program to 4.5 billion. So that's the quadruple good news, I guess, where they beat on the top, beat on the bottom, raise the dividend, and do the buyback. And it equals a huge pop in the stock. It's up $3.24 right now, trading at 46.30. Coming into some resistance here, though, Joel. What's the chart saying?
Well, the chart's bringing it up, but this is an interesting one for a couple reasons. Number one, well, you are getting a big pop in the pre-market here. You did get as high as 46.78 on the initial pop.
I like that
Yeah,
number.
then you go back. You go back a few days when Mr. Loeb wasn't Mr. Loeb sniffing around in this one. Yep, and those 2 days it hit 46.70 and 46.85. So there's some confirmation of the pre-market high. After he had the disclosure, it quickly gave it all back down to the 50 to the 43, trading under 43. Now you're right back at this level here, 46.93 pre-market high, trading at 46.30. I mean, I would love what I'd like to see is see this thing open up here, rally up to 45, 60, 70, fail at 47, and then come back down to that opening print, and I think you could get some similar trading that you did, on the day when on the Loeb announcement.
One thing to consider: this is traded massive volume up here, so it's not like it just all of a sudden got up here and might just fall right back down. It has traded 700,000 shares here this morning, so that's massive volume. So this move is validated by the volume, so keep that in mind if you're trading it. I don't think this is going to be one that's going to give it. Which one gave it all back there yesterday? And you had a good call on that. Was it Cliff? CLF?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, you said it off the bat. I got to give you props on this one, Joel. You were all over it. You said this open here, $22, man. I can't see it holding. I think you could give a lot of this back. Joel, right on that one, because it opened right up there, right at the highs, a 21.90. Straight down, 2 points, gave the entire gain back. But what was the news on Cliff yesterday, though? That was a little different. That wasn't earnings. That was what, somebody...
Activist.
An activist?
Yeah,
an activist investor there
Yep.
saying that they should spin off or some of their international assets, I think it was.
It was
See, my memory's kind of working.
Casablanca.
Casablanca.
Yeah.
Well, the market just faded Casablanca's move altogether, and that came all the way back. I don't think that's going to happen here today with Dow Chemical, because this is the quadruple good news, plus massive volume up here. I think this thing is going to struggle to get through the whole 47 area, but I don't think it's going to be back at like 44 or 45. I think we're going to close in the 46 handle. That's my prediction. Kind of where we're at.
Who was the star in Casablanca, and what was the famous line?
What year was
Humphrey Bogart.
What year was that movie?
Humphrey Bogart. I don't know. That
1949.
was Brent.
Boom. Where am I? Here I am.
Young whippersnapper.
Brent Wiki. Okay. And what was the famous
The line was,
at the end of
frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
Oh, that's where that
Who is this guy?
Oh my
Wow,
God.
who is this guy?
Brent
Brent's
Wiki. All
Brent
right.
Wiki, yeah, he knows his stuff.
But just seriously though, jumping back to Dow Chemical really quickly. CNBC always does get CEO Andrew Liveris on right after they report, and Andrew Liveris was on CNBC this morning saying that, let's see here, the company's where did my headline go? Activist investor Dan Loeb and the company's interests are aligned. So Andrew Liveris giving a little support to Dan Loeb, and then Andrew Liveris also dropping Warren Buffett's name in there, saying that amid the Loeb action, Warren Buffett is supporting Dow Chemical.
Right. I mean, yeah, their actions are aligned, definitely. I mean, the stock's going up. I mean, he has to be happy about that. But Midland, Michigan company, so shout out to all the Middies in Midland.
Yahoo reports earnings
Dennis,
there last
are
night.
you looking
I
at
didn't do the Yahoo very well. Can somebody do the Yahoo better? Remember those commercials at Yahoo?
Are you looking at? Are you eyeballing this Boeing here at 132, Dennis? 131.90.
Stop talking about Boeing. You're depressing me here,
Get it
Joel. It's
back on the
Joe's
long
fault. I'm
side.
blaming Joe. Next time, Joe, interrupt me and say, Dennis, you just can't worry about this kind of stuff. You got to let the trade simmer. Get that scalper blood out of you. Let's focus on the show here right now. We'll let your Boeing trade just simmer.
I'd
I'd be up
say
another 4 points. Joe, if you're there,
right here, Dennis,
shaking my head.
132. Be the savior in Boeing. Be the savior. Bid.
I am not buying Boeing here. I'm not playing it from the back. I already decided that it was bad news. The guidance was horrible. So
Okay.
that's why whoever's been at 139, I wish I would have hit you more.
Okay. All right. What else?
Anyways,
Well, that's what peas are melting
Yahoo. We're
here.
going to talk about Yahoo.
Okay.
Stock is trading down $1.77 here right now.
Wow.
The earnings, Brent, I'm going to need your help on this one because the earnings actually look pretty good. 46 cents versus 38 cents. The revenue was in line. They must have said some bad stuff there at Yahoo too because this stock is getting crushed here now. What was the after hours action there last night, Joel?
Oh wow! Well, the first stock, all these charts look the same in his thing. Spiked up, spiked
Yeah,
up.
the initial, that's that news algo. He comes in and he says, oh, good earnings. You've got to buy that. That news algo, man. I want to trade the other side of that thing, I think.
Got up to 39 and a quarter. I'm not
Ouch.
sure what happened first. 39 and a quarter or 35.60.
Oh, all in the same bar?
All on the same bar.
Wow.
That's a 15-minute bar.
Earnings good. Da-da-da-da-da. Guidance bad. Da-da-da-da-da.
And then got a pop back up to 37.50, back down to 36.50. But actually, you're finding starting to find some support here. Just on the over the last hour here, someone's got an opinion at 36.29, 36.30, 36.35, 36.41. So you do have some support coming in on the 15-minute chart here at that $36.30 level. We'll see how that holds up over the course of the day. Coming down after hitting 41. Wow, Dennis, where were we when this thing was hitting over 41 on several occasions, and then just gave it all back. Hasn't traded down in the $35 area. You need to look back on November 20th. Had a low at 35.22. We did get there in the pre-market. 36.22 was the low back on the 21st.
36 had some interesting levels in November. It was kind of acting like resistance for 3 days in the middle of November. Got rejected, sold off, and then got a running start at it and took 36 out. Then came back for 2 days, retested it. It held. Back in December, got as low as 36 and a quarter, held again.
Yeah.
Now we're back up over 36 here again. I wonder if they're going to try to defend the 36. We've traded almost 1 million shares here this morning, so heavy volume. And 36.40, it seems to be kind of drifting a little bit higher now. I think the 36 might hold.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, that pre-market low was below that. I mean, then all those people buying it at 39 took it down to 35.60 here. But once again, thick stock, trades a lot of volume here, getting a big overnight move. You have all these option players, that bought the 36, even the 37 puts, 36 puts, 35 puts, trying to protect their position. So I think you're going to see some initial buying in this. Have a long ways to go to get back into yesterday's range here. Well, actually, yesterday's range was pretty good, 36.52. They took this thing up. I guess the street was leaning the wrong way on Yahoo.
Street's not always right there, Joel.
All right.
WellPoint reported earnings, WLP, 87 cents versus 87 cents, 17.9 billion versus 17.78 billion. So a slight beat on the top line, in line on the bottom line. That's not good enough. Stock is trading down here in the pre-market. We're down almost $2 here right now. Just took to 82.60. Stock went out at 84.30. This chart, they were leaning the right way on this one because this has been weak really for the last 4 or 5 days coming into this. Actually, for the last 7 days, 8 trading days. I guess the overall market's been weak too, but they've been defending this 84 level, and I don't know if they're going to be able to defend that today.
Right. Just a few spikes down here in WellPoint. Just made a low at 82.60, just kind of sitting there. You did have some lows at 83 back in October. We've cut through those levels. I guess what you're gonna need to look at here is a major support in this thing. 81.46 was your low on September 23rd here. We're only a buck away from there. I didn't listen to the whole speech, but did he say much on Obamacare? Maybe our people can chime in here because that was something that's definitely would have been interesting to get his comments on that. But well, point. You got any sympathy trades with that?
Always in this sector, you got Humana, HUM, which is not trading down very much right now, which is actually interesting. It's 95.87. You've got Aetna, AET, and WellPoint's not the big gun in the sector, so I don't know how much sympathy these guys. The big guns are Aetna, Humana. There's like 4 or 5 of these things. CI is a smaller one, the Cigna that sometimes trades with them, but keep an eye on all those. Those all could have sympathy moves with it,
Wow!
although WellPoint's not the gun.
Look at this Humana chart. This is not Humana. Look at the
This is not human.
no. Look at the consolidation here. I love chart.
95 huge.
Yeah, love chart patterns like this here. S&Ps are continuing to get walloped here, Dennis. We've just made a new low at 77.50 here. Wow, 30-point range. So much for the inside day here. The inside day of the pre-market range. We are just getting tarred and feathered here. 77.50 is the pre-market low. We got another really 7 points to go to get down to yesterday's low at 71.
Yeah, and gold continues to rally here. Just an update. We are now up $13 on the gold futures, and all the miners are getting bid up in the pre-market now. Barrick's getting bid up 40 cents. Newmont's getting bid up 35 cents. Double G is getting bid up 30 cents. So it looks like it's going to be a miner rally type of morning here anyways. A couple other ones. You know what I just want to talk about briefly here is
Sure.
Netflix.
Okay.
Did you see the move in Netflix there yesterday?
No, I did not.
Made new highs. New all-time highs.
Really? Wowzer.
Yeah, Netflix just boom, took off, decided to rally. It led the rally out of here, crosses over the $400 level for the first time, closed up near the highs of 406, is pulling back only $2 here this morning, so the relative strength still pretty good there. Just technical here, pretty much. The stock just took off. Obviously, reported earnings there 3-4 days ago, consolidated for a few days, and yesterday when the market started to rally, they're like, Netflix is the one we got to own, and the Momo and Netflix is back.
I was thinking about this one, and I remember when Joanne had those weekly calls on, I believe. She took a stab on the 360s.
Yeah.
And, we were talking to her about it when they had the good news and the pop-up. We just thought things were overdone. And, like, in the back of my mind, I was thinking about, when Google had that big gap up and stuff. It kind of paused for a few days, and then continued
to run.
and it continued its run. Now, I mean, I guess the only thing that we didn't recommend to her, and maybe
we don't do recommendations.
We
so
don't do
recommend
recommendations.
anything to her.
Yeah, we don't do but just rolling out of the thing. You know what I mean? Maybe that's something that we can talk to when we get our next options person on, maybe Mr. Rahana, and just talk about how she could have rolled that position. She could have sold out that call and bought another call. Hey, Luke Jacoby's up early this morning. Look at that. Luke is our fine intern, writes a lot of articles, and he's in Michigan. And Luke, unless you have a 9 o'clock class, I don't know what you're doing up this early this morning.
He hasn't gone to sleep yet.
drinking
Yeah, or
overnight,
else he just got
partying.
home. Luke just got home.
Oh, he just got in right now after the big night. He was watching the State of the Union. They had the State of the Union kegger last night, probably.
You know what? University of Michigan had school called off for the first time since 1977 yesterday. They did not have.
Seriously, with the snow or just the cold?
It
was
because
too
of the
cold for school?
Yeah. It was too cold. I thought they could. I don't know. I thought they had a lot of those days in 81 to 85 when I was there, but I guess it's.
Hey, Jake's gonna like this one. Would you say it's too cool for school?
Oh,
Ooh,
Jake.
cool. Look at that, Brent. Wah, wah.
I was gonna say in the early '80s, Joe probably had a lot of snow days, but it's a different kind of
Oh,
snow.
Joe. Joe.
And I think that the record was 1978, not 77.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Gosh, Joe popping in with the information here. But yeah, Luke, he's still up from last night, so that's good. Okay.
I got some good news for J. Dot if he's still in it. I don't know if they've got out of it or not, but ONVO news breaking this morning at 8:06. First announces the first delivery of 3D liver tissue to key opinion leader.
Yep. I
Yeah, they did. They broke that news, and actually, ONVO is back up over $10 here this morning on this. So I guess they're saying, or this is showing maybe there is some products here that could eventually get to market. Achievement marks the delivery of, or this is from the Benzinga Pro. Achievement marks the delivery of Organavo's 3D liver tissue to a laboratory outside of the company to a key opinion leader for experimentation, and marks the achievement of a milestone along the pathway to commercial launch of its 3D liver tissue product.
Wait, keep reading, keep reading. There's another good line. Next one.
Organovo achieved the milestone ahead of its April 2014 target date.
Ah.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Flight to quality.
You want me to keep reading, or this is getting
No,
pretty long?
I'm just looking at this chart. I remember, talking about this. Well, it was was that a couple days ago? Look how that $8 level kind of, I mean, it had the 10 to 12 range, 10 to 12, 10 to 12, and then those guys bashed it, and it got, broke down to 10. But look where it got to. It got to that $8 level here, and held up. What was that? You had the
Yeah.
low a couple days ago.
Yeah.
817, and then hit 840 yesterday. But you know what? It's a big pop, on the news here. So you might get a little bit of selling. You're back over the $10 level. Look at the pre-market high. Took it up to 1058. So that's might be a little bit too much too fast here. But hey, good news for the for ONV shareholders.
And good news for you too, Joel, because remember that was your stock pick of the year. You were jumping on that one, and Citron really knocked it down.
Yeah.
We were talking I was even talking with Chris, and he's like, I don't know how some of these Citrons and Muddy Waters don't get in trouble for this too. Because they come out with these, reports where they're, basically shorting the stock ahead of time, admitting they're shorting the stock ahead of time, then putting out all these, analysis where a strong sell short, we think this is, a scam, or this is just a boiler room thing or something like that. There was really not a ton of evidence to substantiate that. And we're not saying it is, we're not saying it isn't at this time, but even in the report, they had a lot of accusations there and a lot of evidence. That's what I was really looking on the Citron report too. And we talked about it on the show that day. So it adds question marks for sure. And when there's question marks, I usually get out. I did keep, I said, the little 300 share position just for fun, but I had a lot more shares than that. I had options on it too. So I got out of those. Citron scared me out of a big chunk of it. And Chris just says a lot of times these things come back. And NQ is, an example too with the Muddy Waters. We talked about it a few days ago. Went from 25 to $8, and it is slowly drifting back there too. Sometimes these guys are right, but sometimes I just wonder if it's just a little bit of talk in their position and knowing, when we break this report,
Yeah,
we're going to
they
immediately be up 20-30% on our short. So
well, you can also
a little
blame
bit
the market.
sketchy
Blame the
practice.
market because the market reacts to it, right? I mean,
Yeah.
they put the news out there, so it's. The
I guess
people-
they're not putting any lies or anything out there. They're just, when you're reading that, it's like a lot of accusations, but they weren't really saying, what the evidence was behind it. Their biggest whole thing for the ONVO boiler room thing was they're saying, well, there's no institutional ownership of this. So how is it going up? And then they were questioning, and then they just jumped to conclusions that there must just be, people over there just pumping this thing to, retail guys, and it's all just retail going to be left holding the bag here at the end of it. A lot of question marks, though, and not a lot of real, strong evidence against the company. So maybe they're right, maybe they're wrong. Right now, ONVO is looking like a little bit better than it was a few days ago. That's
okay,
for sure.
let's just do two more issues, and then we're going to go to our guest, Matthew Goldman, CEO and founder at Wallaby Financial. It's going to be a good guest on the show. Actually, we're going to do three things real quick. We're going to do Twitter here.
Twitter.
Yeah, Twitter that had a breakdown and then the recovery yesterday. Had a period of consolidation for a few days. You were actually trading in the mid low 60s. You were finding a support, and then you had the washout a couple days ago. Took it down to back to 55 level. Back up at the $60 area here. I mean, just with the way the market's leaning and stuff, I expect this to be pretty good resistance. You got any thoughts on Twitter?
It's a big reversal day for a lot of the guns from last year. I mean, we already talked about Netflix, how it broke out, so that kind of probably helps Twitter as well. Facebook had popped back. A lot of your guns that were really weak basically just a couple days ago did bounce back nicely there yesterday. I wonder though if they're going to show weakness here today or if they're going to show relative strength, because we are down 12 points here now and drifting lower. I'm just trying to look here even in the pre-market, trying to like really see what's driving us down here. I'm not seeing that many big sell imbalances here right now. So maybe it's broad. I'm looking at my down filter. A lot of the financials are pretty weak, so maybe it's going to be financially led here today to sell off. But we know the last big sell-off, the Momo was leading the way down. I just don't know. I think it might be financials that lead it down here. So that would bode a little bit better for Twitter.
Okay, quick look at Amgen here.
They had earnings.
Yeah, it's AMGN, huh?
Yeah, Amgen had earnings $1.82 versus $1.68, 4.01 billion versus 4.82 billion. So they beat on the top. They beat slightly, or no, they beat on the top pretty good, beat on the bottom pretty good. Stock, they're just not buying these things off of decent earnings though. Stock is trading down 85 cents there in the pre-market.
Okay, let's just take a look at the daily charts here. Take a look to see where we're trading. Man, this thing has some big ranges for a $120 stock. Looking at yesterday's range, we're currently trading at 119.85. Yesterday's low wasn't down till 118.31. So this is kind of a yo-yo. I would use the close as resistance, 120.70, and 118.31 as a minor support. And just to close out before we get our guest on, Icon's still buying that Apple, Dennis. You have any recommendations for Mr. Icon?
Come on. He's there yesterday. Stock's down 35 points, and he's chirping up again. I just bought 500. What did he say? I just bought 500. How much more did he buy?
I think it was
It was another 500 million. Yeah.
Yeah, so he's chirping up. He just can't stop talking. Every time it's down, he's like, "Oh, I got to give the stock a pop back up. I got to use my influence. I got to use my influence." And he's coming out and says, "Oh, I bought another $500 million." Well, good luck influencing Apple. The volume's just absolutely enormous. So the market just pretty much ignored him, which they have been doing, like you pointed out in your article, Joel, the last few reports. Every time Icon chirps up on this thing, his influence is almost zero now. It's just not responding to his reports.
Wow.
Because he's chirping up every other day. Oh, I bought more Apple. I think it's going higher. This is a no-brainer. He's saying everything he can possibly to use his influence to drive this thing higher. And the market's telling him no right now. It's telling him no.
Wow, and he's not listening. Okay, we're going to have Matthew Goldman on, CEO and co-founder at Wallaby Financial. So we'll take a quick break, and we'll be back with Matthew. Welcome back, traders and investors. We are shifting gears a little bit, and we have Matthew Goldman on, CEO and co-founder at Wallaby Financial. He's out on the West Coast. How are things going on over there at West Coast today?
Wonderful. Always great weather out here.
What's your weather like? What's the temperature out there right now on the West Coast? It's pretty early, but
70, it was 70 degrees yesterday, so it should be pretty good.
That's unbelievable. We're here in Detroit, and what's like minus 20 here, I think, right now. It's unbelievable. This has been the coldest winter in Detroit ever. I feel like moving out there. Can I move in with you there, Matt?
Yeah,
I'm going to the
we
West
always.
Coast. I'll live in your like hubby, or I can just live in even in your yard when it's that warm. Yeah, this
Actually,
weather out here is just
it
crazy.
was 15
So
degrees warmer on my car on the way in. It was 9, and it was -6 yesterday.
and we're
But
happy to see 9. Isn't
yeah,
that sad?
exactly. Resistance at 10. Anyways, Matt, tell us about your company.
Yeah, so Wallaby Financial is a venture-backed startup. We started just about 2 years ago, January 2012, and it's really focused on helping everyone pay the best way they can, use the right credit card, and earn more rewards and save more money.
Okay, and is it? Do you guys charge for your service?
So we have a free service. Right now, we have both mobile apps for iPhone and Android, and a web tool that help you find the right card to pay. And we're building a universal credit card we call the Wallaby card that you put all your other cards into, and you swipe it, and you pick the right card, and you just go, and it's all free to consumers at this point.
Question. So how exactly does it work? So you're like basically saying certain cards work better at certain stores. Is that kind of how it is? Like you get more points on different types of purchases? Is that what you're advising
Yeah,
on?
yeah, exactly. So the average person has 3 or 4 credit cards, and you tell us which ones you have. I have a Chase Freedom, I have a Citi Dividend, I have an American Express Green Card. We know about how those cards work, what are the reward rules, where are their bonuses, where are their foreign transaction fees, all the information about the card. You can give us preferences as well. You say, look, I really am trying to save up for a flight to Cancun. I want American Airlines miles. And we take all the information, and then when you go shop at Starbucks, we say, hey, this card has a deal on coffee, or hey, you're so close to the end of that statement on this other card, it's a bad idea to use it because you're not going to get your grace period right. So we take all those factors together and try to optimize to your preferences, but you don't have to think about it.
Oh, that's interesting. It's is there a minimum amount you need to spend on credit cards to make use of your service? In order for it to be cost effective.
No, since it's a free service, you can use it as little or as much as you want. I think our only real requirement is you should have at least 2 cards. If you've got one, we have nothing interesting to say to you, I guess.
Yeah, because you're going
But
to use the same card.
exactly. But once you have 2 cards, there's always a reason one is going to be better. And we're really focused on. We think people don't like to budget. They don't want. You could look at some charts. You could be told that you should spend less on coffee or less on eating out. But when it comes to it, we really think that what you need to do is just figure out what you want to spend on and how to save on that, right? You're still going to go to Starbucks every day. You're still going to go out to eat and have fun, and maybe you can save 5% just by paying with a different piece of plastic. That's a big deal.
So I'm just still trying to. So is it the app that will tell you which card to use, or what exactly would? So let's say you're at Starbucks or wherever you're at, and you don't know which one to use. Will the app just like tell you which one to use, or how does that decision come
Yes.
to fruition? Really?
Yeah, great question. So what's available today is the app, again, for iPhone or Android, totally free. It's just called Wallaby, easy to search for. And you, after you configure it, that first time, tell us what cards you have. When you're at a store, you just pull it out, launch it. It geolocates you right away, shows you all the nearby stores and the one you're in, and it shows you the best card. And you can drill in. You can learn why it's the best card. We'll tell you about the rule that's being activated and things like that. Or you can just give it a quick glance. Okay, I'm at a gas station. Hey, I need to use this card. That's my gas card this month. Because the rules for a lot of cards change. And then what we're building, which will launch later this year, and you can get on a wait list with us, you can actually get this into a single piece of plastic. It's like a digital wallet on a plastic card. And you'll just swipe the Wallaby card, and it'll automatically route that payment for you to the optimal choice, so you don't even have to take out your phone.
Okay, so what you do is you give your preferences, you give your individual statistics on what you want to do. Does everyone have to fill that out? And then once you give that information, you guys do the analysis.
Yeah, and we try to keep it as easy as possible, right? So you can simply say, these are my 4 cards. We have a default set of rules that we think optimize, but if you want to get more advanced, you have certain things you care about, you can go in and you can say, here's how I want to use specific cards, here's my favorite card. You can get much more advanced, if you will. But we try to keep track of everything for you, from how do the rules change, what are points worth? That's a big area of confusion. An American airline mile and an American Express membership reward point and some other point from someone else are not all worth the same thing, right? They have different ways you can redeem them. So we understand that some points are better than others, and sometimes 1 point from one place is better than 2 points from someplace else. We try to do that all for you, but also give you the freedom, if you want, to get much more detailed with us. And you can give us a lot more information, but if you just want to kind of get the basic recommendations, we just set it up and go. I mean, it just takes a few seconds.
You must have some pretty interesting algos running here in the background of this app. Like, how did you guys develop it? Like, what inputs and what are you just taking all the information from all these individual retailers, inputting it in there, and the algo is optimizing it? Like, how does the algos work in the background?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a great question. It's a pretty advanced system underneath it all, and my co-founder, who's a math major and computer scientist, helps actually build all that stuff, of course. And we think the important thing is really about the data. We have profiles of more than 1,300 different types of credit cards, hundreds of banks, hundreds of reward types that we manage. And the algorithm is constantly getting feedback from users. You can tell us if you disagree with the recommendation. You can tell us if you think something else is wrong. And it's looking at how users also choose cards. Users can connect their bank accounts to our service like you would with a service like Mint. You can see how you've actually been using your cards and what you've been clicking on and then what you've been spending with. And so the algorithm tries to learn from real behavior to get to that optimal point. But it's all kind of self-updating. We don't need to go in there every day and tweak things because it learns by itself. The big updates we make are as credit card companies launch new products or change the rules of existing products.
Okay, and are you able to, I mean, obviously you're going to attract customers from all over the country and perhaps all over the world. Are your algos able to differentiate from, region to region?
So right now we are really focused on the U.S. market.
Okay.
We don't have international users. We don't support cards that are issued outside the U.S. You can take our app outside the U.S., and we include things like foreign transaction fees when you're outside the U.S., right? So that's kind of a difference when you're domestic versus foreign. But we haven't gotten to the point where we're supporting, Canadian cards or British cards or anything. We love the idea. We want to get there, but we're trying to make sure we really nail, the U.S. first.
Okay.
So if some people have individual cards from like there's different obviously companies that have individual cards too, is it work better obviously if you have all? Do you advise to go out and get more than obviously 1 or 2 credit cards to take advantage of this service? Like, would you say go out and get these 3, 4, or 5? Like, which cards are the best ones to get so to take advantage of your service?
We do. I mean, we think using your credit card is intelligent, right? Don't run up balances. Don't pay late. I mean, if you can't manage your budget, you shouldn't be using credit cards. So I think that's kind of the underlying rule. But if you can manage your money, we think you can really save a lot by having more than one card, having a couple of the best cards. Our web tool, which is called Wallaby, which is available on our site, lets you kind of answer a quiz and we'll actually recommend a card for you. We really focus on personalization. If you spend a lot, say, at office supply stores, you're going to get recommended a different card than if you travel a lot. But there are a few really great cards we think that people should have. Just throw a couple out there that are very popular. We see this from our users and also from our recommendations. American Express has a Starwood Preferred Guest card. Those are flexible points. They're very high earning. It has a pretty low annual fee. It's about $55. Chase Freedom and Discover It are 2 cards that have changing 5% cashback categories every quarter. So it really allows you to optimize for the type of spend during that part of the year. Like they'll do 5% on gas during the summer when people are traveling, 5% on online shopping in the fall. And those change throughout the year and they change year to year, but it gives you a lot of bonus opportunities. Another really great card that's very popular is Chase Sapphire and Chase Sapphire Preferred that give you extra bonus points on dining all throughout the year, right? When people like to dine out a lot. So that's a really huge advantage. But there's just so many great offers, and a lot of them are very specific. If you have a family, there's cards for grocery spending and so on. And so we really recommend people use that tool or really sit down and look at the rules and understand what's going to match their spending best. That's how you're really going to optimize, because we don't think the average consumer is going to have 15 cards. Right? We know we do have users who have 15 cards. There are certainly people doing that, but it's a little too much for the average Joe to manage.
Okay, so I mean, I discuss this with my wife all the time, and you get credit cards for Delta, so you get free bags through American Express, and we got our Visa, and then you go to Bank America, and they say you gotta use our Bank America Visa. You get all these free trips and everything. So just walk me through it. I hope people are. I mean, my cards get ripped off all the time, anyways, but I have an American Express. Okay, we got to pay that bill on time as all your bills. I have a Bank America Visa, and I have a Bank America debit card. Those are my three cards. So if I wanted to utilize your service, could just walk through the steps for me and tell me kind of what your quick analysis would tell you.
Yeah, so we don't recommend really using debit cards because you don't earn any rewards and they afford you less protection in the case of a hack at a retailer or something.
Okay.
They all still say $0 liability and things, but you actually have better protection inside federal law on your credit card from transactions you don't authorize. So we always recommend using credit cards just in general. But you would come to our service and you would say, I have these cards, but we need to know which one, right? So you have an Amex. Is it green or gold or platinum, right? We need to know the type.
Okay.
We help people pick those. We show you the pictures, same thing with Bank of America. And then we would load those rules into your profile, and when you're out shopping, we would recommend things, right? So it might be that if you have the very popular Bank of America 321 card, we'll know that when you're at a gas station, that's a much better card to use, earning 3%, than when you're at a general, shop, and the Amex might be better. Also, I think important when you have your checking account and your credit card at the same bank, sometimes you get bonuses, which people may not even be aware of. If you redeem your Bank of America cash back directly into your Bank of America checking account, they'll give you a 10% bonus, right, just off the top. And if you have a really big relationship in certain states, they give you even bigger bonuses, 25, 50, and 75%. So there's ways to kind of stack up those rewards, and we take that into account. You can come into our app and you can say, hey, I also have a checking account here at Bank of America, and we'll remember to calculate it with that bonus.
Okay. Do you have any competitors out there?
Yeah, of course. I mean, all great ideas come with competition. So I think there's a couple of ways we look at it. There's obviously a lot of kind of modern applications that are working on optimizing. We clearly think we're the leaders. There's a couple other things in the app stores, around the space, and then obviously the big companies when it comes to digital wallets, the things they're trying to do with the Wallaby card. You hear about Apple and Google and Square and ISIS, which is a consortium of the big cell phone carriers, all trying to do ways to make the process for paying much more interesting, much faster, much more technologically driven. And so we think all those guys are ultimately our competitors because we're really trying to change how you pay and allow you to pay more intelligently and allow you to earn and save more.
Okay, and just to bring this in from a stock perspective, I mean, do you follow the stocks of any of these credit card companies at all, like Visa or American Express?
Yeah, of course. I think we're really interested to follow not only there's kind of three classes: the networks, Visa, American Express, the big credit card issuers, Capital One, Citibank, Chase. Those are the guys who are really issuing the majority of cards. There are certainly lots of small banks as well, but those are the focus. And then there's a class of a couple of companies like Bankrate and Quinn Street who do a lot of credit card marketing, right? And they're really the channel through which a lot of the ads you see online are driven for credit cards. And so that's a very interesting space to follow and see how their revenues are changing and how many new cards people are applying for, because that's a big revenue generator for those too.
All right, and just from a stock price perspective, I mean, these stocks have had some just historic runs here. I mean, you take a stock like Visa, just over $60 back in 2011, and recently traded, up in the higher 220s here. Do you think of actually traded up to 235.50 this month? Do you think that your service and maybe similar services like this, are going to tell people, hey, don't use your Visa, don't use your American Express, use this different card. Do you think eventually that your service can have a long-term negative effect on some of these big credit card companies?
We don't. We think we're an advantage to the big credit card companies because we're helping people find out how to use them better, encouraging them to use them more, and really taking advantage. I think the big companies create reward systems that are profitable for them, and they're looking for more users and more volume. if we were saying we're taking Visa on, we'd hope to say someday they'll be worth less because, we're going to win that battle. But we actually view ourselves as an advocate for consumers and an advocate for the banks, trying to find better matches between offers and consumer need and really making the whole ecosystem grow.
Okay, so just any closing tips for investors out there that are looking to use your service?
Well, I think it's a great tool for investors, just like anything else. You want to optimize, maximize. Let us do that for you, so you can focus on your day job, right? And figure out a goal where what do you want to do with that bonus, and figure out what you want to do with your credit card miles, and maybe you can save on your next trip, your next vacation, and get away. And we want to help you achieve those goals and make a difference that you can focus, your hard-earned cash somewhere else.
Okay, sounds good to me. We've had Matthew Goldman on, CEO and co-founder at Wallaby Financial. He will help you use your credit cards in the right way, get the most out of your service. So be sure to visit his site and take a look at it. And thanks for coming on, Matt. We'd like to have you on again.
All right, thank you.
Okay, have a good day. Okay, we're going to shift gears here and go to Mighty Joe Young with the morning headline. I see Joe like he's sifting through all his credit cards here, trying to figure out what to do.
I am. I've got. I'm about to. We were talking about The Wolf of Wall Street the other day, my brother and I, and when they're on the yacht. Did you see that movie, Joel, yet?
I know, but I told Lisa I want to go see that one. Yeah.
Okay, so anyways, well, not a spoiler alert, but an actual fact from the movie is that Jordan Belfort directed his captain of his yacht to drive through some choppy water so he could, get to a certain point over in the Mediterranean or something. They encounter a storm and he winds up sinking his yacht, right? So, the captain says, it's just a little bit of chop, and, Donnie Azoff is like, yeah, it's a little chop, and Donnie's wife goes, what do you know about chop? And he goes, how about I chop your credit card in half? How's that sound? That's what I think of. So, yeah, I'm cutting all my credit cards in half right now. Matthew Goldman should probably send us all, some trials of his
That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Wouldn't Wallaby make you not want to cut your credit cards up though? He was saying
but
no. He was saying basically your debit account is kind of like a holding spot for you to pay off your credit card debt, I guess.
You're right.
It was kind of cool.
But he was saying it for people that have trouble managing their budgets shouldn't
Right,
be using
right.
credit cards, because it's like, I'll just get another line of credit. I'll just get another
Right.
line of credit, and then you're up to your ears in debt. But anyways,
Before you go into the headlines, Joe, I mean, the S&Ps are just falling out of bed here. Brent, you got to get on there and figure out what's going on here. We just bounced off yesterday's low, 1771. I did not think we would see that level. I guess some of these earnings are taking a hit on the market. We did match yesterday's low, 1771. So there's a support level for you. The low of the recent move has been 1767. So just giving you an update on the S&Ps. Okay, Joe, go ahead.
all right. So I have another question for you, Joe. When you say shift gears, are the news headlines an upshift or a downshift?
Well, we just figure people are just like, they so much have fun listening to Dennis and I and Brent banter. If they want to take a little break, go get some coffee or something, they.
Oh, so it's an upshift. So we're just kind of cruising along at highway speeds now, and the other passengers in the car are taking a nap.
Exactly.
All right. Well, I'm gonna fly this one solo.
Okay, go ahead.
President Obama's sixth speech on the State of the Union spotlighted many issues, but more than anything, it illuminated the vast gap between his policy ambitions and the tools he has to achieve them, framing the issue primarily around the lack of progress for working Americans rather than the outsized gains of the wealthiest matters politically, because convincing the public to focus on the issue makes up Obama's first challenge. So far, Americans have expressed mixed reactions to talk of income inequality, polls by several major organizations have shown. Another hot topic, the announcement of an executive order to raise the minimum wage for companies doing business with the government, illustrates the point. The order exemplifies the sort of executive action that Obama hopes to do more of this year to move his agenda forward despite dug-in Republican opposition in Congress. The same goes for other policies Obama mentioned, including extension of unemployment benefits for those who have been out of a job for more than 26 weeks and expansion of pre-kindergarten education. One of the hottest lines of the night spoke on women in the workforce, with the president saying, "It's time to do away with workplace policies that belong in a, quote, Mad Men episode," end quote. Very topical, even though the next season of Mad Men isn't on until April. I really like that show. Do you watch the show, Shubs? What? Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Good. More than 7,000 students across Georgia and Alabama camped out with teachers in schools, gyms, or on buses, and commuters abandoned cars along the highway to seek shelter in churches, fire stations, and grocery stores after a rare snowstorm left thousands of unaccustomed Southerners frozen in their tracks. I'm not going to make it through this one. Tuesday's storm Tuesday's storm deposited mere inches of snow, barely enough to qualify as a storm up north.
Where was this at?
This is in Georgia and Alabama.
This is what happens, though. I'm sure you've heard about this, where like people in the South just freak out. It's like they've never seen a snowflake.
It's true. My friend Evan Conroy lives in New Orleans, and the forecast was calling for an inch of snow, and he said people were flipping out. I just want to go down there just to see it, see everyone like. I wonder if they run around with their arms waving in the air, all panicked.
Joe, you'd just be standing there with like a short sleeve shirt and shorts on, with your arms crossed,
Going
like standing in the snow. Like, this is some nice weather.
What's wrong with you guys? And yet, it was more than enough to paralyze deep South cities such as Atlanta and Birmingham and strand thousands of workers who tried to rush home early, only to never make it home at all. Atlanta Public Schools confirmed to ABC News that several hundred students are sheltered in place at 9 schools this morning.
Oh, how bad, how terrible would that to be to get snowed in at school? My God.
What's it? Shubs knows a teacher at one of those schools, so they're just trapped in school. Oh my gosh. I'm sorry, all you Southerners. This is a topic of humor for us here in Michigan. I mean, it's like yesterday we were talking, it was 8 below 0, and we're all still at work on time. Sorry.
Except for Jake.
And Laura. She was late yesterday too.
First day of work, she was late, huh?
Officials in central New Jersey have fired a school bus driver after a toddler was left on his bus in bitter cold weather for nearly 6 hours. The 3-year-old got on the bus at 8 a.m. Tuesday for the ride to the Franklin Park School in Somerset County. He sat on the bus without heat, food, or water until he was discovered around 2 p.m. Another fantastic headline. I got nothing on that one. New York Republican Representative Michael Grimm was not happy when a New York reporter asked him Tuesday night about allegations involving his campaign finances. The incident happened after Representative Grimm was asked to respond to allegations about his campaign corruption case in a post-SOTU interview. That's a State of the Union. While the camera was still rolling, but after the reporter ended a segment, the congressman can be heard telling New York One reporter Michael Scotto, no, you're not man enough, I'll break you in half like a boy. Scotto was not facing the camera, and some of the exchanges inaudible. Grimm donor Diana Durand has been charged with exceeding the maximum donation to his campaign by reimbursing friends for their contributions to him. Grimm is not charged with any wrongdoing. Fiat profits fell in 2013 as its troubled European operations and a slowing South American car market offset the positive impact of Chrysler's increased profit. Fiat also said it will not pay a dividend for 2013 and cut its guidance for 2014. The Italian automaker, which now owns all of Chrysler, reported today that it earned $1.3 billion in 2013, down from $1.56 billion in 2012. Without Chrysler, Fiat would have lost $603 million in 2013. Chrysler, meanwhile, said its earnings totaled $1.8 billion for 2013, up from $1.7 billion in 2012, as the U.S. auto industry continued its 4-year recovery. The automaker's results would have been better except for the higher-than-expected costs related to the launch of new products, especially the 2014 Jeep Cherokee. Chrysler earned a profit of $659 million during the fourth quarter, up from $378 million for the same period in 2012. Later this morning, the newly combined Fiat-Chrysler Group is expected to announce its name, the country of its legal registration, and which exchanges its stock will be traded upon. During a roundtable with reporters at the North American International Auto Show earlier this month in Detroit, CEO Sergio Marchionne said that the newly combined company would have both Fiat and Chrysler in its name. He also said that he favored listing its shares in New York in addition to Milan, where Fiat shares are traded today. So, Fiat Chrysler or Chrysler Fiat? What do you suppose the name will be? Marchionne's dream, Fiat Chrysler?
Feisler?
Chrysler? Um,
Cryad?
yeah, Chrysiat? Well, yeah. Sorry about that, Fiat. I'm a Chrysler driver, so obviously Chryslers are superior here in the States. TechCrunch reports Into Now, the second screen app that Yahoo bought in the spring of 2011, just 12 weeks after its launch, is being shut down by its parent company. As of last week, Into Now has been taken off the Apple App Store and Google Play, and an email sent to users notified them that the app would stop working as of March 31st. Yahoo and Tomfoolery, an enterprise app studio co-founded by ex-Yahoo and ex-AOL alums, which we and others have reported is getting acquired by Yahoo. According to a source close to the deal, the $16 million acquisition has indeed now closed, and Yahoo will officially announce it soon. The intention was to put the news out at the end of the week or the beginning of next week, but with the story coming out already, the company has sped up the timing. Google has joined forces with Lego to introduce a web app that lets Chrome web browser users' imaginations run wild with whatever snap-together brick creations they want. The nostalgic virtual construction environment called Build with Chrome allows users to stack bricks just as they did when they were kids, except there's no worry about running out of scarce window and door pieces. The Lego WebGL app was built in 2012 in Australia as an experiment, but it's only just now being made public in good timing with the Lego movie that's coming out next week. The app should make building dodgy-looking houses such as our attempt below much easier. Shubs left that in there he wasn't supposed to, especially with the keyboard shortcut keys, which can be used to rotate and remove bricks so you can stack bricks faster than it used to take to demolish your creations with your feet. The head of Nintendo has promised to slash his salary in half after announcing a 30% dive in profits for the third financial quarter. President Satoru Iwata announced he would draw a reduced salary for 5 months to atone for the downturn, while other members of the board will take a pay cut between 20 and 30%. Nintendo's poor results were blamed on weaker than expected Wii U console sales, as gamers are enticed by cheap downloadable smartphone games. Nintendo released key first-party titles such as The Legend of Zelda, The Wind Waker HD, Wii Party U, and Super Mario 3D World from the summer toward the year-end sales season, said Nintendo in its earnings statement. Nintendo also cut the annual sales forecast for its handheld 3DS video game devices to 13.5 million units from 18 million units, although sales of Nintendo's 3DS and 2DS handheld devices remained relatively healthy. Motley Crue is hanging up its guitars for good. The heavy metal band plans to say goodbye with 72 concerts in the United States and Canada before retiring. The rockers made the announcement at a news conference Tuesday in Hollywood. Alice Cooper will tour with the group. Very cool. Tickets go on sale Friday with prices starting at $15, even though with StubHub we all know they will go much higher than that. We want to go out with the 4 founding members of Motley Crue and go out on top, said lead singer Vince Neil. We want to leave a legacy, added guitarist Nikki Sixx. We also want to have some dignity. The band members have signed a legal agreement promising not to perform as Motley Crue after 2015. We'll see, ... Very nice. A Motley Crue country tribute album is in the works, as is a big screen version of the band's 2002 book, The Dirt. And more Bruce Springsteen news. Bruce Springsteen paid tribute to the late Pete Seeger and Nelson Mandela with a reverent dedication of We Shall Overcome during the second night of his 3-night stand in Cape Town, South Africa. I lost a great friend and a hero last night, said Springsteen of the folk legend, who passed away at the age of 94 on Monday night. He reverentially told the crowd that Mandela made it possible for us to be here, and Seeger was a very courageous freedom fighter as well. He also spoke of the power of Seeger's We Shall Overcome, saying, once you heard the song, you were prepared to march into hell's fire. He followed it up with a blistering version of his own protest song, Born in the USA, before bringing up the house lights for a jubilant Born to Run. Ugh, man, Shubs, I hate Springsteen news. So boring. Springsteen kicked off with a cover of Free Nelson Mandela for Sundays and Tuesdays shows. In today's trivia tidbit, hopefully more interesting than that last headline, big league pitchers might feel safer on the mound this season. Major League Baseball has approved a protective cap for pitchers, hoping to reduce the damage from line drives to head that have brought some terrifying and bloody scenes in the last few years. The heavier and bigger new hat will be available for testing during spring training on a voluntary basis. The safety plates made by Isoblocks are sewn into the hat and custom fitted. They weigh an extra 6 to 7 ounces. A baseball weighs about 5 ounces by comparison and offer protection to the forehead, temples, and sides of the head. They'll make the hats about half an inch thicker in the front and around an inch wide around the sides. Today's trivia question. On your mark, everybody. On this day in 1936, the first class of the Baseball Hall of Fame was elected. Who were the 4 inaugural
You're
members?
doing sports today? Or did you let Chubbs do sports because it's his birthday or something?
I'm letting Shubs do whatever he wants because it's his birthday, hence the Bruce Springsteen headline and Motley Crue.
Okay, I'm going to do okay on this one, I think.
You are? Okay.
I'm going to go with...
Oh, wait, 4 or 5 members? 5. Sorry, guys. Who are the 5 inaugural members of the first class of the
well, you
Baseball
know
Hall
for
of
sure
Fame?
who was one of the greatest baseball players of all time. Ty Cobb.
Okay.
And then I'm going to have to dig a little bit deeper here.
Into Google.
No, I'm not looking into Google. This is 1936, so I'm not exactly sure when Hannes Wagner played. Hannes Wagner? No, it can't be Lou Gehrig. It was in 1936.
No. Mickey Mantle came way later.
Yeah, come on, guys. Hannes Wagner?
Well, I mean, so you've said
don't forget the babe.
You've given me 2 responses so far. I need 5, Joel.
Oh.
Okay, well, I'm asking for confirmation.
No, you just have to give your list, and then we go from there.
Babe Ruth? Okay. Okay. Gehrig, no way. Yeah, that's a good guess, J-Dot. I'll go with Walter Johnson, the hurler. And coming up with a 5th here is...
Need one more.
One more.
J-Dot says Mathewson.
Okay, I'll go with that. Christy Mathewson, a great manager and player.
All right, your final list, Joel?
Ruth, Cobb, Hannes Wagner, Walter Johnson, and Christy Mathewson.
You are correct.
Wow.
Sir. Ty Cobb, Babe Ruth, Hannes
Holy
Wagner,
crap.
Christy Mathewson, and Walter Johnson were the 5 inaugural members
That was
on this
awesome.
day in 1936 that were elected into the Baseball Hall of Fame. Congratulations, Joel. You just won a 2-week free trial to Benzinga Pro.
No way.
That wraps it up for today's editorial headlines
Wow.
and trivia tidbit. Just a reminder, ladies and gentlemen, the show would not be possible without our dear friends at OptionsHouse, who will give you 150 commission-free trades if you guess all 5 inaugural members of the Baseball Hall of Fame right. No, just kidding. They'll give you 150 commission-free trades if you sign up for an account through this page. There's buttons at the top, at the bottom right. Go ahead, open an account, get 150 commission-free trades just because you listen to Benzinga's pre-market info.
Well, since I have the dishonor...
Don't cut off the OptionsHouse pitch.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh, whoops.
Just because you listen to Benzinga's pre-market info. Okay, go.
J-Dot. I was just going to say, because J-Dot definitely helped me out on that one.
Okay.
I want to give him my 2 free week trial to Benzinga Pro, where he can get our great updates and headlines all during the trading session. J-Dot, I want you to email Jake, Shaky Jake, no, just Jake at benzingapro.com, and we want to get you a 2-week free trial of Benzinga Pro. Is that J-Dot? Are you going to follow through on that, or are we going to have to get mad at you?
We could probably extend it to like a month or something.
A month?
I'm sorry.
Okay, all right. I mean, J-Dot, the way he contributes, I think he's worth it. So it's Jake at benzingapro.com. And if you come into Michigan, when I take Dennis out for one of his Potbelly lunches, maybe I'll use one on you. So, okay, Brent.
Or he just wants a cup of Tim Hortons. That's that simple. He's a
Just a cup of coffee, no breakfast wrap, birthday breakfast wrap in honor of Shubs?
We already got those from Drew. We're going to have Drew on as a special guest. I don't know if any of you guys have to deal with customer service here, but we have Drew on there, and he does a heck of a job if you got any questions about any of the products, you sure to contact Drew on our customer service desk. So, Brent, have you figured out why the market's going down?
Um, it's a lot of selling.
A
People
lot
are
of
hitting
selling.
the sell button. Yes.
Okay.
No, actually, I mean, we had that latest leg lower right at 9 o'clock, and there is sometimes a 9 a.m. release. That was not the case today, and usually there's an 8:30 release. Not an 8:30 release either today, so it's nothing. It's sort of on like the macro side
Yeah.
of things. It looks like 1768.75 is the low that we just hit a little bit ago, and it looks like we kind of bounced off that. 1773 we're at right now, so we're getting a little bit of a bounce
Well,
here.
we hit the lows of the right around the lows of the move. We've been talking about the double bottom. The spoos had it 67, and they had another low at 71. Those are the lows from
67 right on the money.
1767 even.
Okay.
Was the low. Let me pull up my handy dandy charts here. 1767 was the low, I believe, on Monday. Today's Wednesday, right? And then on Tuesday, we hit 71. So 67, 71. We've hit 68, 75 here so far in the regular session. So there is some support there.
I have to cut in.
Uh-oh. What you got, Joe?
By the time I read the headlines today, they were already somewhat outdated. I just got a text from Dina saying they announced the Chrysler company name on the news this morning. It's Fiat Chrysler, and they showed the logo and everything.
Thanks, Dina.
Fiat Chrysler. Thank you, Dina. I
How does the
appreciate
logo
that a
look?
lot. Let me pull it up right here.
I can look for myself.
Where are they going to be listed?
Well, he wanted New York Stock Exchange, so my assumption would be that's where they're. Oh, Fiat Chrysler to list in New York. Financial Times reporting and logo. Who's got the logo?
Nope, don't see a logo on your screen, Joe.
I don't see a logo here.
Well, you find that. I'm
here
gonna.
it is.
Oh, wait.
FCA.
FCA. Oh my gosh, that
Automobile
is.
listing on New York Stock
That is
Exchange.
not attractive
if
at all.
Fiat shareholders approve the proposal, do we have a symbol?
I thought you said FCA.
That's what the logo actually is. It's the letters FCA.
Really?
I think that would be a
It's
reasonable
really a-
assumption, though. Is that listed already?
No,
Well,
no, I don't know.
it's a fund.
Huh.
FCA.
We'll have to see what they come up with. So, Brent, do we have any upgrades and downgrades?
We got a few that I need to mention, but we had a packed show today, so I'm just going to kind of skim through these really quickly. Walmart got an upgrade this morning. Credit Suisse upgrading from neutral to outperform, boosting that price target to $87. VMware shares getting an upgrade from outperform to strong, screaming buy at Raymond James. It's just strong buy, not I added the screaming. And that was following results. We did
Upgraded to RAR.
RAR, you should buy. Bank of America upgrading shares of EA from neutral to buy following those results last night. And then also at Bank of America, American Air getting an upgrade from underperform to neutral. Last one of the top upgrades this morning, Goldman Sachs upgrading shares of Aeropostale from sell to neutral. Few of the top downgrades this morning, Keefe Bruyette Woods downgrading shares of DR Horton, one of those home builders, from outperform to market perform. Barclays downgrading shares of BJ's Restaurant, ticker there is Bravo Juliet Romeo India, downgraded from overweight to underweight. And also at Barclays, Apollo Education, this one is APOL, downgraded from equal weight to underweight. And then one more, Goldman Sachs downgrading shares of Francesca's, ticker there is Fran, from neutral to sell. They cut the price target to $16. Got a few minutes before the open here, Joel. Big news coming out on Veringo yesterday. Victor Romeo November Golf. Pull up this chart and, brace yourself here.
Okay, I'm bracing.
Okay.
Nice move up. Now, didn't that news start to break a couple? Was it that last week or something? Yeah. I mean, the street gave us a heads up on this one.
I'm trying to see.
It's on this. I could tell you the day. It was that day that it shot from under 310 up to close to 380. Didn't they win a suit against Google?
Right.
Something?
So
Yeah.
yes, you are right, sir. So they, on the 22nd, they confirmed a decision in this Google case, and the stock got halted. Stock got halted at 4:18 yesterday afternoon, and we did get a comment from the company saying that the royalty rate that they're going to be receiving from Google was set at 6.5%. Apparently, this is just a massive royalty rate here, so the stock resumed trade and popped. You see the morning high in that one, Joel? It popped like almost 60% right at the open. I see over $6. It almost touched 650, 642. I see as the morning high. We're back down to around
Yeah.
544, but I mean that's still what, 30% or so?
Yeah, boy, oh boy.
Huge move in Baringo, and this is definitely one of those momentous stocks that we've been sort of following pretty closely. Luke hopping in. Luke's been all over this one. I think Luke did. I think he did a couple of interviews with some of the execs over at Baringo over there. So maybe we can see what we can do about getting a nice little interview for the show at some point. I don't want to tease or anything, get ahead of myself, but just kind of throwing it out there. Um, a couple of the earnings.
Quick note on that.
What?
I mean, this
What?
thing hit 650.
It did hit
Boom,
650. Okay.
And then now we're back down at 526 here. So someone used that opportunity to lighten up on some stock here. You're looking at this issue now trading back, just traded down to $5 here. So hopefully you had some offers out there here on that pop up in Baringo.
And I do see that almost 25% of the float was shorted previously, so that could definitely be some of the reasoning as to why we got such a big pop there. A little bit of covering. I did just hear the opening bell ring, so it is about time to hand it over to Jake. First, just a heads up tonight, we do get earnings out of Biogen. We do get earnings out of Las Vegas Sands, Qualcomm, Citrix, and Facebook. Joel, if you want to maybe start off the market session with a little look at Facebook, that would be good. I had a few users chatting in with some questions, so I'm going to drop some of those tickers into the chat for you. See if you can roll through those, Joel.
Okay, real quickly, S&P's bumping up against the pre-market low here, so we do have some support here under the 1770 level. Got a couple pops off that. Also looking at Facebook here, we are trading. How are we trading in Facebook here? We're trading down about a stick, but looking at yesterday's low, we are coming into that level. 54 even yesterday's low, 54.13 in the session. They are trying to hold this thing up here above 54. So there's a good level coming back on the upside. Kind of a tight range yesterday, only a $1.28 range. 55.28 the high. So I think we're going to bounce around in between those two levels as people square ahead, square positions ahead of earnings. So Jake had some car problems this morning, but he made it in, and as usual, he will come up with some good stocks to take a look at.
For sure, yeah. I guess the cold managed to vanquish my car, but it did not beat me. I made it in.
Is it
Shubs
dead?
actually saved me.
Is it dead? Is your car officially dead?
Oh yeah, it wouldn't even start to turn over. No lights, nothing. It gave up on the cold. I guess I don't really blame it.
Well, maybe Jason will get you a new car as a
yeah.
January bonus.
Or a battery.
Okay.
We had a few big reports yesterday. The first one I want to dive into is Yahoo. You guys kind of caught up here. Yankee Hotel Oscar is the ticker there. It's trading down almost 7% right now in the pre-market. While the top line matched and the bottom line beat, the guidance did put street estimates dead in the center for the revenue guidance for the coming quarter. The biggest thing is that they weren't showing the strength in revenue growth or in growth in general from Alibaba that the street was really hoping for, and with how much of the company's valuation is currently tied to those holdings, I guess the street's pretty disappointed. There were some comments that they said they're seeing very strong revenue and subscriber growth from Tumblr, which is encouraging for $1 billion acquisition, or I guess was it $2 or $3 billion? But still, Yahoo's trading down in the pre-market here. Joe, what do you think? I mean, we're down below $36 here. Down, I mean, it just seems to be cascading lower here. Any thoughts on Yahoo?
We did take out the pre-market low, and I'm a little bit surprised at that. It's 35.60. You did get the 35.30 here bouncing around. So let's see if that early morning low 35.30 can hold up. besides that level, you had a low at 35.22 back in November here, so it looks like you might be getting some short covering in between that level. But boy, this thing has come off hard off the recent high of the move at 41.72. But dude, there was a lot of large institutional selling all the way up, and it looks like they knew what they were doing on this one.
So I want to kind of go back to the macro markets right now. I know you're saying you wanted some kind of color on that. I've been diving more into the forex side once again,
Okay.
and I don't know if you can pull up a chart of the U.S. dollar, Japanese yen by any chance, like a daily, but there's a lot of comparisons going on out there between that and what the market's been doing. I know I would keep bringing this up, but it seemed, I mean, it's down at like 102 today. It's been as high as 105. It was above 105 back in or I guess late December there, which is, it's a huge move for a currency pair. There's a lot of traders trying to just get out of emerging markets right now. There's this incredible fear of emerging markets. Now, why that would be dragging us down is a little bit confusing to me, but I guess you could, it may have something to do with the currencies themselves. There was a big test earlier in the euro. It dropped down to, I guess it's the euro dollar there. It dropped as low as 135.98, which was a huge support level apparently, and then bounced right off that. So there's a big expectation from a lot of the forex traders that I talk to that we're going to have a lot of action going straight into this FOMC. A lot of times on these days, you don't see a whole lot going on before we go into these meetings because traders are trying to make sure they're just positioned for it or kind of off the table. But it looks like there's a lot of traders out there expecting that it's going to be, nobody's going to keep any powder dry today. It's going to be going all out right into the FOMC decision. So I don't know if you got any thoughts here.
You're looking at some implications here. You're looking for some action out of the Fed today.
Yeah, I think that's what a lot of currency traders are thinking. I think we saw that massive interest rate hike from Turkey, which I think started some of the scare. There's been a lot of, China was showing that weaker industrial numbers. Although I was talking to a pretty experienced money manager, he says that's a normal head fake that China does at the beginning of the year. Is they sandbag their industrial numbers, get the commodity prices down, buy up a ton of commodity futures, and then bring their estimates right back up. And apparently they do this pretty commonly.
Wow.
And so some aggressive hedge fund managers follow this strategy as well, and they wait for China to lead, and then they hop in. But usually it's only the most aggressive funds that are willing to risk that because, going to battle with a central bank the size of China is usually not the best plan.
I wish Dennis was still on here. Is the market forcing the Fed's hand here? Are they? Because right now, the market's on a lot of pressure here. If they, come out with any more, tapering and any more, we could have a market crash today.
I know there's a lot of people out there right now that have been saying that it would be irresponsible for the Fed to taper today. And if you're looking at how the market's been behaving this morning and this flight out of emerging markets, I think a lot of the money is leaving emerging markets but may not have chosen where to go yet. What is it? If you're out of emerging markets, you're either going to go to Europe or you're going to go to the United States. And so I think they're kind of waiting on that FOMC decision today to see where they're going to go. So let's say we don't get a taper. I wouldn't be shocked if we have a huge rally as all that money just pours into U.S. markets.
Yeah, things are really setting up here. These days are usually kind of quiet and kind of range bound, and now we've had over a 30-point range in the S&Ps. We've got down to 68.50 so far in the session. 67's been the low of the move here. So some bulls are out here vigorously defending the 1770 level.
Absolutely. I guess that kind of takes care of some of the macro stuff. I just really wanted to dive into that. Being an FOMC day and with so much index activity, it's something to kind of take a look at. But another thing that if we want to kind of move back to the macro side, definitely want to, or micro side, my mistake. Can kind of hit up some earnings from this morning and give you guys kind of a recap there. Boeing did report its fourth quarter results this morning. EPS came in at $1.88 versus the $1.57 expected, almost a 20% beat on the bottom line. Revenues coming in at $23.8 billion versus expected $22.74 billion. So beat estimates there by a cool $1 billion. Someone asked me yesterday if we expected Boeing to surprise, and I thought, if it beats, it's not going to be a surprise. I guess beating by this margin is almost surprising to me. Beating in general for Boeing, no, they just seems to be that's all they do now. But Bravo Alpha, the ticker there, pretty incredible quarter. Joel, what are you thinking of Boeing?
Oh boy, I tell you, it's been getting killed. I mean, every I've been wrong on this one. Every support level I thought would hold has not held, and we've they just took the beating right from the pre-market session, 131.76. They took it down to 128.07. So I guess the only way that you could be picking bottoms along those lines was just throwing out bids at different stray levels to try and catch it. 127.94 was your low on October 24th. You did get to 128.07 here, so I think you come back down anywhere in that area. I think the low is finally in, and wouldn't touch it on the long side, believe it or not, until it got back through that opening print and that opening high at 131.76. But there is, I mean, it's only, I guess it had a 4-point rally off the lows here. I think you could see another sprint in that issue today. S&Ps are holding in there though, Jake. Dipped down 68.50, missed that other low by 67. Starting to find some footing here and starting to move up a little bit.
Yep, so it should be interesting. For those of you wondering why Boeing is trading down after beating by 20% on the top line and $1 billion on the top, they did lower their fiscal year 2014 guidance. It came in at $7 to $7.20. Street was expecting $7.57. The company also showed its revenue with expecting for the fiscal year 14 $87.5 billion to $90.5 billion. Street was expecting $92.72 billion. So when you bring in you lower your expectations like that, you're going to get a little bit of a dip, especially after Boeing, where so many traders may have been kind of levered into this one that could be kind of diving out. Joel, one of the major Boeing competitors here that always gets brought up is Lockheed Martin. Lima Mike Tango is the ticker there. What do you think of this pure play? I mean, I know they're both kind of more in the they're more, I guess, in the military space, but still, they don't have quite the commercial presence. But I guess we can't exactly check out Airbus right now. So, any thoughts here?
It's hanging in there. I mean, certainly not getting whooped like the Boeing is. In fact, it's holding up very well here. You had a couple lows at the one. You had a low at 146.80, and we only got to 146.49 in today's session, and you are rebounding up to 148.11. So what's bad for Boeing must be good for Lockheed Martin hanging in there. Your first resistance point, you got pretty good resistance up here at the 149 level, 148.82 to 149.09. We got a couple minutes here, Jake. What else? What else you got on the radar?
Another one, a local company, Dow Chemical, reported a fourth quarter EPS of 65 cents, was expected 43 cents. Revenues came in at 14.4 billion, versus expected 14.13 billion. So a nice beat on the top and bottom line there. Now, what seems to be getting traders a little bit excited this morning is the expanded buyback plan. They're bumping that up to $4.5 billion, while raising the quarterly dividend from 32 cents to 37 cents a share. So nice, boost in cash back to shareholders there. Dow Chemical, Delta Oscar whiskey there. Joe, what are you thinking of this one?
I did get all the way up to 46.93 in the pre-market. Mr. Loeb has nailed that one right on the head here. 46.85 was the high a couple days ago when it originally he disclosed his position. Opened up, got to the 45.60 level, seemed to be struggling here a little bit. If in fact it can take that out, you're going to find resistance in the 46 handle. Jared has a question for us. Why is PXX trading down after beating estimates? And I guess the first thing I say, I mean, just sometimes the market can dictate, even if there's good news on the stock, what it's doing. I don't know if it's good point there, the whole sector getting crushed or not, or perhaps they looked into something into guidance. But I tell you, the market's been acting very, wow, look at the range in this thing. 74 dipped to 70.81, back up at 70.95. I'm not sure what your, how short term you were looking, on the options and stuff, but if it can get back up to that $74 level, had couple lows between 73.60 and 73.92. That's your resistance area. Certainly need to get through there. Also, a couple issues on Brent or Jake. I don't know if you can check to see if there's any news on them. Google, man, I was looking at this thing when we got in, and with the pre-market, it was trading up to 11.30, and has recovered from the all-time high 11.67 and change. Got down to 10.82 a few trading sessions ago. The level I'm looking at this over the next couple days. I mean, they announced earnings too. I think on Friday, right?
Tomorrow after the close,
Tomorrow after
4:10
the close.
p.m.
1125 is the number for me that marks the 50% retracement of that big move we had. We got to 1125.75 yesterday, and then also another high at 1126.50. So expect good resistance if it can get back up that high, 1125, 1130. Also, we had a question here on MDVN.
Medivation.
Yeah.
They did have earnings, I believe. Let me pull them up real quick. MDVN. Get some news for you guys there real quick.
Okay.
They're on my list, actually. See, Credit Suisse maintained an outperform rating on them, maintained a $95 price target, but I'm going to go back a little bit farther. Medivation and Astellas announced final results from the Phase 3 Prevail trial of, here we go, enzalutamide. Maybe? All
Yeah,
right.
close enough.
I think that's what the closest I'm going to get.
I think I don't like this. It opened up right at its high, 86.59, 86.59 high. Came back down to $86 here, so actually a little bit lower than that. Wow, big range in this thing too. Boy, there's some big ranges today. Excuse me, 86, opened at 86, went to 87.46, and then had a big drop down to 83.50. Looking to me, that's a 4-point move pretty early in the session. So as long as it holds 85.50 here, I think it's good to go north. Below 85.50, and I'd have to look for perhaps the low of the day. Also, another one just coming out of the chat. I want to cover these stocks before we go. MPEL.
MPEL.
MPEL, huh? Not very entertaining stock price today, huh?
Can pull up the news there.
That's the China component for the casino and gaming.
Oh yeah, Brent's reminded me that this is one of the Chinese names in the casino gaming sector. So definitely something to watch. They were actually caught up in they're covered in the market wrap yesterday even.
Okay.
Grabbing some data on them real quick.
40.23 open, 40.27 high here. So in the session, see if we can get back above that opening range area and see if we can continue to rally up to your high from yesterday at 40.91. And Amgen, let's just take a look at Amgen here. That thing is a mover. Take a look at how Amgen is trading. Come on. Is this my system having a little problems with Amgen here? Let me try it one more time. There it is. They didn't have earnings today, did they?
It was yesterday, I believe.
Okay. After the close?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Well, Joel, I think it is 9:47. So I don't know if you want to give the quick rundown there, but I think this is going to have to be our last one.
Okay. Trading at the highs of the day here, 120.43 is the high. So just made a new high in the session. Looking at this in the daily, no major resistance until we get to 121.87. That was the high from yesterday. S&Ps did hold the lows of the move. We got a big 10-point bounce going on here, folks. See if we can get back half of this huge range today. 30-point range, 15 points. That would take you back up into the 1780s. Got another 4 points today. So fun session today. Thanks a lot, everyone. Jared contributing. J. Dot. Luke got out of bed early. Thank you all for contributing. We'll be back with you tomorrow.